well, they're walking and they're going to the trash can because the trash can's right there.
Right.
And the recycling bin is outside the door. So they have all these plastic bottles, they're drinking in class, they're doing all this stuff, and then class ends. They don't want to hold that bottle, they don't want to hold on to that bottle longer than they need to. So they see that trash can and they toss it out, and then they look at the recycle bin outside and they say, oh, whatever. They don't care. They're apathetic. They don't know where that plastic bottle goes. They don't know the difference. They do not understand or comprehend the difference between putting that plastic bottle in the trash can and putting that plastic bottle in the recycling bin. Every hour, Americans use 2.5 million plastic bottles, and that's just in the United States alone. 80% of Americans have access to recycling programs. Only 24% of all plastic bottles are recycled in the United States. The plastic bottles that don't get recycled end up in landfills where it takes thousands, if not millions of years to break down and biodegrade. These unrecycled plastic bottles take up nearly 30% of landfill space, which is entirely too much, especially since they shouldn't be there in the first place. 95% of landfills are constructed with 3 main layers. Beneath the first 2 layers lies the waste layer, which receives no oxygen and prolongs the biodegrading process for all materials within the landfill, including plastics. Every person at SNU makes a choice when they are finished with their plastic bottle. Most of our recycling bins are conveniently located right next to our trash cans. The action of putting a plastic bottle in a trash can is no different than the action of putting a plastic bottle in a recycling bin. The difference lies in where that plastic bottle goes after.
Here at Southern New Hampshire University, full trash cans and recycling bins are taken out as they fill throughout the day.
The trash is brought to the dumpsters and the recyclables are brought to large bins until they are picked up. From here, Casella Waste comes and takes the garbage to a landfill. Our bottles are taken by Empire Recycling and brought to a recycling facility for all of Manchester.
As each truckload of recycled material arrives, it is weighed by commodity. This facility receives material from Southern New Hampshire, Northern Massachusetts, and local municipalities. Most of the material we receive comes from homes and transfer stations. Once a truck is weighed, it is backed up to the tipping floor where it dumps the material into the commingle pile. Commingle material includes 1 through 7 plastic, glass, aluminum, and tin. The material then gets pushed onto a conveyor belt where halfway up a worker picks off any non-recyclable material. The rest of the material goes through a spinning trommel similar to a strainer where it removes all the broken glass. The remaining plastic travels down a conveyor belt where it is hand sorted by grade. Once the plastic is sorted, it goes through a blower system where it is stored in bins. Once the bins are full, they're brought around to the baler, put onto the conveyor, and made into plastic bales. Each bale consists of about 25,200 bottles per bale. The bales are forklifted to the warehouse until they're loaded onto consumers' trucks. Fifty 50% of the trucks travel to domestic mills, and the other 50% are shipped overseas, mainly to China. Regardless of where the trucks go, they are received by mills that process the material. The plastic is ground into flake and made into several different products. Plastic bottles can be recycled into polyester, hard plastic, laundry detergent scoops, luggage racks, carpets, food and non-food containers, parts of electronics, toys, yarn, athletic shoes, and sleeping bags. Non-recycled material is taken to a landfill. Most material breaks down over the course of decades, even centuries. Americans use 2.5 million plastic bottles per hour. And recycling 1 ton of plastic saves 4 barrels of oil.
An enormous amount of plastic bottles are put into landfills every year, creating problems such as increased land use and water pollution.
We want to put a stop to these issues, and one way we're trying to do it is by conveniently placing recycling bins next to every trash can.
Recycling reduces waste, energy use, and air emissions, and it saves land, fossil fuels, and natural resources. It's up to each and every individual to make the decision to respect the planet we inhabit. By taking the small step of recycling, we can reduce waste, reduce costs, and prolong the natural resources of the earth. Throwing away that bottle instead of recycling it will have dire consequences, not only for our generation, but for each generation to come.